right, let's get started. I will start with the results of the survey that I conducted recently. I asked you, group of developers, experts, technical persons, what is your first thoughts when you hear the word Scrum? And the answers were business as usual, no particular change for me. Answer 2, we are going to have sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, generally Scrum events. The answer number 3 was we will focus on generating business value. And number 4, I don't know, I didn't work using Scrum. And well, what were the results? The answer 1 got 0 votes. The answer 2, the winner, was received 22 votes. The answer number 3, 8 votes. And answer number 4, 0 votes. How do I understand the results? Well, everyone who participated in the survey worked using Scrum, and they feel the difference when they work using Scrum. This is very good. But in the same time, I think they don't understand the true nature of the Scrum, since they associate Scrum only with Scrum events. And Scrum has way more to offer. Scrum is way more than just Scrum events. So what is it then? What is the actually right answer? Well, the answer is written very clearly in the Scrum guide. It's about generating value. And of course, it's about generating value. What else? I mean, sprint planning, daily Scrum, and other Scrum events are just techniques that helps you and your team to create value. You may ask, does it really matter for me? I'm a developer, I'm just doing my part in the project, that's all. Well, my answer is yes, it does matter for you, and it's a big deal, actually. First, there is a whole agile transformation in IT right now. Like, entire organizations are changing their way of working to Agile and Scrum. So it is important for you to know what they expect from you. Second thing, you should not just doing your part. You often work in a team and you take accountability for the results as a team. Why me? Who am I to tell you how to work? Well, first of all, I'm telling you that from years of experience and observations about Scrum and Agile. When it comes to my certifications, I'm a certified Scrum Master, Product Owner, Agile Project Manager, Prince 2, ITIL 4. I also have technical certificates like AWS Architect and Google Cloud Platform Architect. And I have managed many projects over the years, so I can verify whether the project brought business value or not. I also know it because clients told me that. I asked and they replied with the feedback. Some clients, specifically the ones that didn't work with Scrum before, says they are extremely positively surprised how much the team has accomplished. They were used to kind of slow rhythm of work. So when they saw the way of working with Scrum, they sometimes couldn't believe how fast we brought a business value to them. To me, this is ultimate proof that Scrum works. The companies can achieve more using the same team size and the same amount of time. To tell you more what Scrum is truly about, let me start with a comparison. And I'm sure you have seen this picture before. It's a general concept of Scrum way of working. It shows the difference between waterfall methods, often called as traditional method, and Scrum framework. And I want to make sure we understand the difference between Scrum way of working on the left and the traditional method, which is waterfall on the right. Okay? In waterfall method, an entire work is divided into phases which are executed sequentially. Each phase begins only after the previous one is completed. We start from collecting requirements, we design the solution, we fully implement the solution, we test it, deploy it, and maintain it. This is how timeline looks like in the waterfall method. There might be more phases, but as an example, this is enough. Scrum approach is a bit different, and it divides work into small iterations, small piece of work. We work on one iteration at a time, and in that iteration, we design, we implement, and test only that small part of work. Okay, the iteration is called sprint, and the team works on one sprint at a time. And at the end of the sprint, the Scrum team provides a working piece of software called increment. And the final product is ultimately built from a set of these increments. Okay, this is a very important difference. It's a different way of working that also requires different way of thinking. Okay, one more time. Waterfall, one big long work with full analysis, implementation, tests, and maintenance, exactly in that order. And Scrum work is divided into small iterations called sprints. We create small increments and product is built from a set of these increments. And right now you may ask a very obvious question. Why? Like, why do companies change their approach? What for? Why just simply not to leave it as it was? Well, again, the business value. Organizations achieve more using the same team size and the same amount of time. That's very important. How do I know that? Why am I so sure about it? Again, I have managed many projects over the years, and I can verify whether it is that way or not. And I confirm that Scrum works. Let's put a little bit humor into the presentation, because I think I'm pretty sure that at this point you think exactly the same as the person on the picture. So by agile you mean just waterfall in sprints. Well, is Scrum just waterfall in sprint? The answer is absolutely not. The Scrum is way more than that. And to understand it, let's start from the very fundamentals of Scrum, also known as Scrum pillars. There are three of them. There's inspection, adaptation, and transparency. Scrum uses an empirical approach in order to adapt to the changing environment. Empiricism means that we will make our decision based on what has actually happened. Empirical approach means working on a fact-based, experience-based, and evidence manner. We try to avoid fictitious plan based on a large amount of upfront requirements. Okay, we can learn and improve during the work. Very important part to remember. In Scrum, decisions are made based on the observation and experimentation rather than detailed upfront planning. That's a very different from waterfall method. It's different way of thinking about product development, about your work, about your cooperation with client and the team. Let's talk about these pillars one by one. Transparency. Transparency makes sure that the work is transparent to everyone, for you, for clients, for all teams, for everyone that is involved into developing product. We work on the same information across teams. We share the same status of work. Transparency in Scrum is realized by product backlog, task boards, burn down charts, daily stand-ups, retrospectives, definition of done, sprint reviews. These tools and techniques are used to transfer the flow of work through the team and allow visibility of work progress. That's a very important pillar. Inspection and adaptation. They work kind of together. They are helping each other. A little bit of context. World is changing constantly, and our product is changing. Context of our product is changing. In agile world, we need to adapt to the changes, and we constantly improve. And adaptation means that we change what doesn't work to something what works better in our context. We keep what is working and change something when it fails, as simply as it is. We use the results from our inspection inspections and decides how to improve it. And notice that Scrum artifacts like product backlog, sprint backlog, increment are frequently inspected and adapted towards goal. Things are changing during the work, and sometimes some adjustment needs to be done. This is a very regular situation in Scrum. It's not very regular in waterfall method. And I'm sure there are many inspection and adaptation examples that you know already. Inspect and adapt on a daily basis during daily stand-up meeting. Sprint reviews is another meeting where Scrum team will ask for feedback from all stakeholders and adapt accordingly. Another one during sprint retrospective, the Scrum team discuss internally about issues and opportunities for improvement. They will prepare and adapt the new plan as a team to generate more values. Note that all of three pillars needs to work together. They can't be used alone. For example, it's hard to maintain transparency without inspection and adaptation. And of course, for example, even if something is transparent and inspected, well, without adaptation, it will not give us the desired results. So to summarize, empiricism and these three pillars are not just important in Scrum process, okay? They are a foundation of it. It is the way how Scrum team achieves continuous improvement and therefore build better products, which finally bring more business value to the customers. Let's go further. In addition to Scrum pillars, there are Scrum values. There are five of them. There's courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. All Scrum values, similarly to Scrum pillars, represent specific mindset, specific way of working. And notice they describe soft skills around Scrum. Okay, and now and they should be, of course, used by all persons in Scrum team. Let's talk about them shortly. Focus. When you are focused, means not distracted. It helps you to do the work in sprint and make the best possible progress towards product goal and the sprint goal. The major purpose of the Scrum team is to creating value in developed product. So there is a product goal in a long term and there's a sprint goal in a short term. So staying focused on your works really helps you to achieve that goals. Scrum supports that approach. And for example, when we plan the work in sprint planning, we know what we are going to work on, which helps us to organize ourselves, our time, and create focus on our work. Also, time boxing in Scrum helps team members to focus on what's most important without being distracted by prolonged meetings or some ad hoc work. Is focus important? Of course. It's like focus is probably one of the most important and at the same time hard to achieve. Why is that? Of course, we live in dynamic world. We have Slack messages, emails, phone notifications. It all impacts on our work and focus. So stay focused is very important. And focus is necessary if we want to deliver high quality work. Without proper focus, we may simply burn down working hours without delivering good results, which is definitely not desired. The next one, courage. In Scrum, there is a need to have courage. Very important. Really, please remember this. Courage is to look for non-standard solutions. Courage is to express your opinions in front of the team. Courage to explore new areas. It takes courage to challenge others' opinions, of course, respectfully, but it is crucial in a team when you work to voice your opinion and concerns when you have them. It also takes courage to admitting that sometimes we made wrong decisions. We need to improve and adapt. How to achieve courage within a team? Well, try to show your courage in your daily work. For example, if you notice someone is rather shy, make a room for their opinions during a discussion. Remember to be supportive to your team members. Don't afraid to raise the issue if you see one. It will help the entire Scrum team. The next one is commitment. Scrum team commits to achieving its goals and supporting each other. Commitment is about dedication and about taking actions. Remember that commitment is especially important when you work in a team. When you commit to do your work, your teammates rely on you. They adjust their work to your outcome. Being committed and show your commitment during sprints helps to achieve the sprint goal for the entire Scrum team. Team members in Scrum should be committed on the work what they are doing, to the team, to the quality, to sprint, to product goals, generally acting as professionals. How to achieve commitment within a team? Well, if you want team members to be committed, they must see the value and sense in their work. If we make business value visible for the whole team, this can create motivation to deliver more, and motivation is a key to commitment. Next one, openness, another very important Scrum value that is connected with soft skills. The Scrum team and its stakeholders need to be open about the work and the challenges. Transparency, remember, is one of the Scrum pillars, and openness as a value is crucial to achieving this transparency. Openness is essential for good cooperation, and good cooperation is the key when it comes to developing and delivering high quality products. All team members and all stakeholders should be open about their work, about the progress, but also about their problems. Even more, openness is critical in the moment of sharing feedback and learning from others. How to achieve openness within a team? Well, we need to build an environment where people feel free to share their thoughts, their ideas, and their viewpoints. Always be open and honest with others. It will encourage them to do the same. Never criticize, never shout, never punish someone who has different opinion, even if they are most probably wrong. Just don't do that. There's always a way to have calm discussion, to present someone's approach is incorrect, and maybe it will turn out that your own approach was incorrect. Just discuss and finally comment on final solution. If you have, for example, sprint planning without openness, respect, and transparency, nothing good will come out from this meeting. You will not achieve good results, even that you formally had sprint planning meeting. Respect comes together with openness. Being open is one thing, being respectful is another. Without respect, it may lead to rudeness. Every team needs to respect the different opinions and the different opposite points of views, and also sometimes different personalities. We also have to respect the changes introduced by client or their decisions regarding how to build and develop product. We as a Scrum team need to respect that. Okay? We can in the same time propose, we even should propose in the same time different approach if we notice that something can be done better. We can explain its benefits, collect the feedback. Many times clients will appreciate that openness and respect and agree to experiment. But if they are not, they highly likely have a reason for that, and then we should respect that too. How about client's perspective? This is very important point of view to understand as a developer. Why exactly clients decide to go with Scrum framework instead of traditional waterfall way of working? Well, for many reasons. It speeds up the business value, it increases visibility, it keeps the adaptability part on the high level, and it decreases the risks. Let's talk about them. Thanks to the Scrum incremental approach, the business value is produced from the very early stage of the work. We work in sprints, and our focus is to deliver increments. And increments are the part of completed work. Completed mean that they fulfill our definition of done. So there is a part of work that brings value to the customer from the very first sprint. It's the opposite in traditional development, because then you would probably spend most of our initial work or work on analysis, estimations, some plans. But as we know, the plans can change, the approach can change, technology can change. It's simply more optimal to keep remember about it from the very beginning. And thanks to that, stay agile, stay flexible, divide the work into small iterations, focus only on them, and bring small but complete part of work to the customer. What about visibility? Well, do you remember the transparency? It's not just a feature, transparency, okay? It's a fundament of way of working in Scrum. It's one of the pillars in Scrum. So we can provide to the client much better visibility of the work during the entire time. And I'm not saying that we have just visible product backlog where everyone can have access and see the items we are working on. I'm saying like entire process of working. Sprint review is a perfect place and time to present the completed work. We show and prove that it works. Then we collect immediate feedback from the client, and clients has high visibility all the time because we work in sprints, we focus on increments, and we present the work regularly. And in addition to that, we encourage to work with clients team. So it's not only clients management that has that visibility, it's also development teams from the client side. Adaptability. We talked about visibility, and visibility comes close with adaptability. From the very early stage of the work, clients inspect and adapt the outcome of the Scrum team by providing feedback, right? And based on that feedback, we provide the adaptability part. We maintain the product backlog with right priorities, with updated tasks. Clients sees the progress frequently and on a regular basis. And they frequently on a regular basis provides a feedback. If something needs to be adjusted, or clients decides to use different technology, or simply some circumstances has changed and something brings more value to the client at the time, we simply reprioritize the backlog accordingly and we adapt. Everything stays visible to the client, and Scrum team and the work is adapted to the requested changes. In waterfall way of working, it's not really that way. We would probably have very high detailed decomposition of the entire work. So, adaptability then is on a very low level. Don't get me wrong, high level decomposition is not bad unless it doesn't change. But since IT work is highly exposed to changes, then this full analysis and full decomposition is very often not the best approach to take. It's better to stay agile and welcome changes as they bring higher business value into the final product. And the final one is a risk. When client works closely with your team, when they provide feedback, when the presentation of the work are frequent, when the product development is divided into smaller stages, when changes are welcome, when Scrum values are used in the cooperation, the risk of producing the outcome that is not suitable with clients' expectations decreases dramatically. In a traditional way of working, we might have worked on a product for like a month, and then we create one big meeting with all possible stakeholders and present the demo. But what if there were misunderstanding or misinformations included at the beginning of the work? They might be totally unintentional one, right? Just simply there was no clear picture of how something can be done. And this may lead to disappointment about the outcome. It may lead to higher budget, longer timeline. I think no client wants that. But using Scrum framework, where we keep the high visibility, where the inspection and adaptation are in place, it's much higher probability than the outcome will be just as the clients want it. What I would like you to take away from this presentation. First of all, understand that Scrum is not only Scrum events. Scrum is mindset, Scrum is way of working, Scrum is way of cooperating, Scrum is way of efficiently developing products in changing environments, right? Scrum is mindset, Scrum is openness, is respect, Scrum is transparency, Scrum is empirical approach. Obviously, Scrum events like sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, they are very helpful, but I want you to remember that they are just the place where we enable the Scrum pillars and all of the Scrum values, all right? It is expected from you as a developer not to be just present on Scrum events. It is expected from you to share Scrum values and understand Scrum pillars. Thank you.